Wait, no. No, don't do it! Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Put me down. My leg! Honestly, I just could not bear to not talk about this trio any longer. Fanged beasts they all are, but so quirky, unique, and just a sheer joy in every sense of the word. Them existing just enriches the world of Monster Hunter. Starting then with Arzuros, who, I mean, look, he's a bear. He's literally the blue bear beast. He looks like a bear. He operates like a bear. He's just a bear. But that should not take away from him, for he is full of personality. And, you know, he does have huge spiky arm braces to add to his already immense strength and put more power behind his long, razor-sharp crimson claws that he can use to shred through bark, the ground, other would-be aggressors, and generally just make a nuisance for himself. Now, he's not just all cuddly blue fur. He does have his signature ridged azure scale, and after that, really just classic bear-like, even in how he operates within an environment. He's a huge fan of Winnie the Pooh, sharing the love for honey wherever he can find it.
Everything is honey, and that's quite alright with me.
So, you see, Arzuros isn't, well, the sharpest Velociprey in the pack. He really likes honey a little bit too much, to the point where many Arzuros are killed because they're so engrossed in their tasty treat that predators walk up on them without really any semblance of stealth and just kill and eat them. Now, you know, maybe to them it's worth dying for. I imagine in that situation it is, but you'd think awareness should probably be prioritized a little bit more. It takes something absolutely monumental to break an Arzuros' lust for honey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? I didn't mean to do that.
And what's more on top of this is they have this honey zone, honey vision, but they also notoriously cannot stand being surprised. It's really the only way they'll get aggressive, because normally they are quite peaceful creatures going about their silly day, like not knowing how fast they should run to stop in time for some tasty little morsel. They're adorable in their own right. They really are. Even their, like, grapple is just shaking you around the place to see what falls out in the hopes that it's maybe edible. They do try to their best what was... Yo, this one goes out to my Arzuros friends. They do try the best to the what, they try the best to the what, yeah, to the what, to the best. I'm so sorry! Oh god, I'll go back to talking about the animals now. They avoid their threats, especially humans. They will shy away and slink back in to the trees. They don't really want to meet anything that's even remotely the same size or larger than them. They are cautious despite how oblivious they can be. They also have a lovely tendency to try and scare away a danger by standing on their hind legs and doing what is really the equivalent of "I'm so big! Look how big I actually am! Roar! I'm so scary, right? Look, I'm tall now! Ha ha!" And a very... I mean, it works on smaller creatures. It does an intimidating "I'm gonna get you" display, but it really is all back and, well, little bite compared to a monster. Arzuros would still rip a normal person in half, you know, as soon as standing on a twig, but in the scale of monsters, they really are at the lower end, very, very much so. Despite how hard their scales are, how much padding their fur gives, the fact that they can crash through a tree trunk with one swipe very much effortlessly. So, they absolutely also are big fans of fish, much like actual grizzly bears. And indeed, the red helm Arzuros, which is the deviant, which is a crimson variety, whether it is a sign of age or, well, soaked in the blood of his enemies, is unknown to the guild, but they are, well, just experienced older Arzuros, and it is very rare that they make it to that point because, again, they just die because honey too good. Whereas Red Helm's kind of mastered his yin-yang of, I hate being surprised, but I just love being in my own world with honey, and has come out on top with huge extra strength, size, ferocity, and honestly, they can absolutely wallop many times above their weight class. You will feel a Red Helm claw pierce through even the thickest of hide. But back down to normal Arzuros, because really the Red Helm is, I mean, that's it, that's your Red Helm right there. They can be found in your normal foresty areas, and wherever there is abundant water and rivers and honey and insects and buzzing in the trees, you can find an Arzuros wandering around doing its thing, and that's kind of all you need to know about them. They're shenanigans honey bears that kind of get into mischief while trying to be as shy as possible, but they drop like flies because they can't help themselves. It's kind of one of those animals that you look at and go, how are they still, how are they not extinct? How do they even manage to live really at all? I mean, I'm happy they are, but I don't get it. They literally live to die for honey. So, Lagombi better, because he is a furious little bunny rabbit, and he is all about those Arctic regions. Anywhere there is snow, what do you know? You can find this guy giving it a go. The white rabbit beast, very much intrinsically related to the Arzuros, essentially you could say the snow version of him, but rather than being sort of pure bear, he's a bit of bear with, of course, rabbit, but also wombat mixed in, and it gives a very distinct look. Now, they spend their days sliding on their belly, which is covered in a very special type of fur to minimize friction that is angled and fixated in a way for, let's say, maximum slidiness. You can always tell a Lagombi is nearby because if you listen carefully on the winds of the mountain, you can often hear this sound. They are incredibly thick-furred. Scales too can be found, but primarily they are very, very cuddly. And it gives them padding, but primarily it is about that heat generation. And because of this, because they are so good at staying warm, they really can't exist anywhere but the most coldest of dwellings, or they will overheat and die. They are primarily insectivores, which is already a huge plus, because anything that gets rid of those annoying little shitty insects that exist to piss you off is a bonus in my book, but it also is partial to some mushrooms and general vegetation, because variety is key to a happy life. Although if they get desperate, if the tundra is cruel, they will go after larger game just to satiate their gnawing hunger. Now, they are, again, easy prey for even something like a pack of baggy, but everything above that, I mean, they're just walking tender sirloin. Tigrex going to be licking his lips if he finds a sniff of a Lagombi. But they are exceptionally well adapted for survival, at least escape. Due to the sheer speed they can power slide around the slopes, it is very hard to catch one that is determined to not be caught. In fact, a Lagombi at full pelt is one of the fastest traveling creatures to just exist, and they will use this very expertly in combat, although sometimes clumsiness does occur, especially when they are weak, injured, or exhausted. But the aim is to simply go very fast, use their quite immense bulk to plow and break and smash through opponents, confuse them with rapid movements, changes of location, and just all-round speed. They are the masters of the ancient style of martial arts, the slip and slide, and they use it to great advantage. damage. Again, mild in nature, they don't tend to attack unless provoked. They're mostly spending their time trying not to die and storing as much food and fat as possible. Their claws are sharp, tearing through armor and flesh that is quite essentially paper to them, but their ears are their most effective utility, able to detect the slightest sound and its location from miles away. They use this to stay out of sight from other large monsters. It's a lot of work hunting down a Lagombi. Their white fur also camouflaging very well against the snow, especially once the storms raise and the blizzard does descend. Lastly then, one of their favorite habits is to throw snowballs around, rolling them, sending them sailing through the air to smack down and encase a novice hunter who is rapidly realizing he's in over his head. They are little tricky fellows. They are fun and they add some real diversity to the game, and I love that they exist. Although he does have a deviant, the Snow Baron, who, like the Red Helm, is just bigger, badder Lagombi. He's spikier, he's got a very much evil look in his eye. He is the aggressive variety, the outlaw of the frozen wasteland. The Snow Baron can be found jauntily sliding around any territory that is claimed as its own. Its playful antics, however, can mean one more village buried under an avalanche. Yeah, it kinda likes to cause avalanches, a lot of the time incidentally because of just how much volume of snow it displaces with its immense slippy power. And the Snow Baron is Snow Baron because, well, no one has much of an idea. Age, of course, is the leading suspect, but they do change quite physically, and they do display signs of something getting on in years, so it is the logical conclusion. The fur of a Lagombi gets softer and softer and softer as it does age, and the Snow Baron's is the cuddliest gosh darn thing, one of the most sought after materials, just because of how luxurious it is to wrap yourself all in and cuddle forever. But of course the most impressive feature of the Snow Baron is its new found muscly form, allowing it to pick up absolutely ginormous snowballs that can completely paste even larger monsters against the ground. It is very hard to resist that volume of packed ice cascading upon you. So that is your Lagombi, which leaves one more. The Volvidon, and this one I think might be my favorite because he's so much just keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, 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 keep rolling, rolling. Your joy to experience with his rolling antics. This one then, the Red Shell Beast, and very much anteater, a little bit of armadillo, and he has got the base bear form going on too, but he has one long, licky, sticky, paralytic tongue, but the paralysis comes from its prey of choice, which is essentially any insect it can find, whipping its lasso out and swallowing them in the blink of an eye, a la chameleon, and that is, again, a great service done to monster hunters everywhere. Now, it also can have a little bit of a flora diet when it gnaws down on roots and a little bit of vegetation that it can get its hands on, just to supplement if the insects are a little bit too sparse and far between. Now, the Volvidon is by far the most powerful of the three, its shell able to withstand lava itself as it rolls around merrily from forests to volcanoes, and it does have one hell of a defense. Its normal reaction when challenged is to ball up and just whoop, 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 its way as it power balls to safety, and it is very, very quick. Not quite the Lagombi sliding speeds, but it is incredibly maneuverable. It is able to roll not just in, well, the direction it's traveling, but sideways, diagonal. Look, it can go in the directions that it pleases, either for longer, more runaway type journeys, or slight adjustments of the speedy nature to confuse and flank enemies before unleashing the tongue weaponry. It can also throw itself into the air, go in ball form, and essentially bounce like a ping pong ball as it creates little quakes in the ground if it fails to crush the target entirely, as it is quite weighty. Its shell is dense, it is thick, and it is incredibly resistant to damage, able to turn away both blunt and bladed very effectively. Like the others, he is rather calm if you don't try and get all up in his business. His objective is to run away primarily, but they are by far the most ferocious of the three when cornered and made to fight, and it has a lot of tricks up its sleeve, or I guess in its ball. It can even apply the soiled debuff, spoiling hunters' would-be items by venting waste as a noxious gas from little holes in its shell. And like, the Volvidon is definitely the simplest when it comes to how it interacts with its environment and all the little nitty-gritty, because really I've already told you all there is to know about it. Roly, smashy, bug-eating, perilous, anteater, armadillo, bear, ping pong, and that's still honestly fine though. Like, look at the three of them. They all have something going for them that just makes them charming, is the word. It really is. All of them are easy fights, but all of them are super quirky and memorable because of their unique little thing. From getting distracted mid-fight with some honey and just ignoring you while you beat him senseless, to sliding and fun, to fighting a living pinball with invisible bumpers all the way around it that it can use at any time. They are a trio that I absolutely adore, and I really, really hope that they get to World one day. And one thing I do like is that bears in real life get up to all sorts of silliness, and I feel like that's very much infused into these. I mean, look, I will never get tired of watching this. Now, Iceborne would be the perfect time, again, because they're low tiers, and the only way to really make them kinda relevant and fun is to add them to, well, G/Master rank, where they're still going to do a decent amount of damage to our high rank armor. And I think these guys have such unique ways of operating and moving that when applied to worlds, well, world and how the environment is so much more interactive with everything that's going on, you can see some amazing scenarios occur. Less so with Arzuros, but I feel like if you did the other two, you'd have to do him, and still watching him wander around the forest, getting up to no good, getting in trouble with the other monsters, running away, stealing honey, and I feel like just following Arzuros round would be a joy. But the other two especially, I mean, Iceborne, Icy Zone, Lagombi sliding actually like it should, not just little jaunts in an otherwise flat map, but properly using a whole mountainside in combat with you. In fact, you could have the avalanche mechanic happen. He could cause them upon you as you run away. How amazing would that be? Volvidon using his pinball self to rocket off walls and maybe actually bounce between surfaces as he uses the height aspect a lot more. And even the whippy tongue would be fun, although Pookie, it's been done, so you never know. But god damn, I just want them for the little bite-sized, oh, that was cool, experiences they will be for everyone who's not fought them. They often get forgotten, and it's not really that nice. It's not really nice, guys. Stop forgetting the bears. You're all super mean. Look, I feel like I'm in danger of losing you all here, so I'm gonna wrap it up. All right, they're fun, they're easy, and they add a lot to wherever they are, and I think they make great candidates to add pure joyful variety to an otherwise incredible Monster Hunter experience that sorely needs some. So and why did Volvidon not get a deviant but the other two does? That just feels unfair. But either way, guys, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.